Hi guys, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host Indira, and today I'm joined by Natasha Phillips, who's currently holding more UK number one ranking spots than anyone I know. She's also pretty new to running after making the switch from competitive swimming. So, let's get into it. But before we do, if you've been enjoying the podcast, please be sure to follow it and leave a rating and review. This really helps me to bring you guys the best content. Okay, let's get into it. And so, Natasha, hi, how are you?
I'm fine, yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me on the podcast as well.
No, absolute pleasure. And, Sunday long run day, are you a Sunday long runner? Have you been out for one?
Yes, yeah, I am always a Sunday long runner.
It's not Sunday, is it? Never mind. Okay. And so have you been training this morning already?
I was in the pool this morning, so I was doing a swim session, and then I've just been on my bike as well. So it's been a really busy morning, but that's me done for the day.
Nice. Okay, so you're more of a morning trainer then.
Definitely, I can't train in the evening at all. I mean, I could if I had to, but I would definitely prefer not to. It gets to maybe after like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm just like, no, I'm too tired for that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Morning is definitely the time for physical training at any rate. Okay, couple of things to kind of introduce with. Is there one instance you can think of, coming to the sport maybe a little bit later than some, where you kind of realized afterwards that something was different to how you expect it to be, or, something unexpected that's happened to you?
Um, Probably that time where I signed up for a 3,000 steeplechase because I thought it was just a 3,000 because it had SC next to it, and in swimming, like SC, I thought that was short course, so it means like a 25-meter pool. So I thought maybe like it was a 200-meter track or something. So I signed up for a 3,000, and it was not till the morning of the race that I Googled it, and I said to my mom and dad, I was like, I think it's steeplechase. And I can't do that. There's no way I can jump over that huge barrier into that water pit. I was like, there's no way. And so yeah, I think that showed my lack of experience in track races and in running in general, when I thought that SC meant short course. And I thought, looking back, I was like, how stupid was I to think that they would have some sort of short track outside. So yeah, definitely that just lacking some knowledge about you know events in sport in running.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, I think it makes a lot of sense actually, if you think about it. So, yeah, no, definitely wouldn't hold that on yourself. Okay, and what would you say is the most valuable thing you've done for yourself as an athlete?
Hmm, that's a tough one. Probably believing in myself, because I went through it like a period of thinking that I couldn't do anything, especially when I was iron deficient, and I found it really hard to run. I thought I couldn't do it, and I was really close to giving up because I had absolutely no belief in myself. And I just felt like I just didn't have any self-confidence really. And I think when I told myself that I was capable of, racing, and I was like good enough and I could run fast, I think that was like a real turning point. Literally just believing in myself and thinking that, yeah, like I can do it. And, I've done the training, I'm capable, because so many times I'd turn up to a race and be like, oh, why am I here? I don't deserve to be here. I'm so new to this. Everybody's so fast and they've got so much experience. And, I've done this maybe like one time before. So yeah, I think it's just having like the belief in myself that, I can do it.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's so, so important. And if you had to pick a favorite race or a favorite racing memory, what would that be?
Oh, probably the Inverness half marathon in March, just because it was really unexpected, that I would run that time, and break the record and everything, and win as well, because I wasn't expecting that either. So, and it was just, yeah, it was incredible. And having my mum and dad there and everything, it was great. And also, we thought that it would be snowed off because there was like really heavy snow forecast. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to get to run. So even just like, getting to run it was a highlight as well. So it just made it even more special. So I think that was definitely my favorite my favorite one. Oh, and also running the 5,000 in Jerusalem was really good as well. Just because it was so new, I was like trying to think back further. But yeah, I think those two were absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can imagine. And, two very, very incredible performances as well. So, a lot going for you there. Okay. And so, you're currently UK number one for the half marathon, the 10K, park run, 5K, and the 5,000 for under 20. I don't think I've ever had anyone with that many UK number ones. So, can you introduce yourself as an athlete, a bit about maybe some of your background?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I started off as a competitive swimmer since the age of like 7. So I really did that up until COVID, and I only really did like school cross countries, and we'd have like this thing called county sports, and I do maybe like the 800 and the 1500. But it's just I just loved it, and I never really took it very seriously. And then I joined Hawk Hill, like Dundee Hawk Hill Harriers, at like the end of or the middle of 2019. And I started doing some cross countries, and I just kind of went for a laugh and everything. I never took it very seriously, and I was like, oh, it's great. I love the mud and everything. Um, and then COVID started, and I thought when the swimming pools were shut that like running was a good way to keep my fitness up. So I started running, and I was doing like the 5Ks where you would like donate 5 and run 5. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. I don't know how people run 5Ks, but I really enjoyed it, so I kept doing it. And there was these virtual challenges, and I ended up getting like quite highly ranked in them. So I thought, oh, I'll keep doing them. And then I thought I'll do the cross countries again, and I did quite well in the cross country season. And I thought I'll just continue like to the roads and the track. And then I kind of I just decided to do some of the road races this year, and I ended up doing quite a lot better than I like expected to, which was nice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, quite well is definitely possibly an understatement for sure. But at what point did you then leave swimming completely after COVID? Did you kind of resume swim training for a bit, or did you go straight on with just running?
I did, yeah. So when the pools opened up after COVID, like I was really happy. I was like, oh great, I get back into the pool because I do triathlon as well. And I still do triathlon, so I thought I need to keep my swimming training up. So the pools like went back, and I did a few competitions, but I suppose with swimming, like you just lose so much fitness after not doing it for so long. And I was never really like back at what I used to be before COVID. But I still really enjoy swimming. I don't really like competing anymore. Just it's horrible being stuck at the pool for like 5 days straight and everything. But I do like swimming, and I do incorporate my training. So I do swim like quite a few times a week, just because it's really good for like aerobic development, and it's low impact as well. So I'm not having to pound the streets, like 7 days a week.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I guess, you've got some experience running some half marathons, some 10K, some of the longer stuff. Coming from a swimming background, I mean, that is a large increase in kind of volume and time on your feet. Did you suffer with any injuries in the kind of transition to that? And how did you build up from kind of maybe, low mileage or zero mileage to such high volumes?
I think I did it really quite slowly, because in lockdown I would maybe only do like 1 5K a week for, I don't know, uh, probably a couple of months, and then I slowly started like increasing it very gradually. And even still, my mileage is really quite low compared to most people. Um, it's maybe only like 30 to 50 kilometers a week, and I know some people are running well over 100. Um, so I never really suffered of any injuries because I did it very slowly. I mean, I had like the odd like niggle, like sometimes that you'd wake up and be like, oh my, like Achilles hurts a wee bit, but because of my cross training, I could just take like a few days off, and it didn't really matter. But yeah, I think the trick was not to stop all my other training and go straight into running, because I think I would have ended up with an injury if I'd done that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And in terms of, I guess now you're fully transitioned from swimming to running, have you got any kind of reflections on the difference between the two, maybe how you feel as a person and as an athlete?
I definitely prefer running than swimming. I just think with swimming, like I did really enjoy it when I was younger, but as everybody, got older, they would get really tall and everything, and I just I didn't seem to hit that growth spurt, so everybody got really good, and I was just kind of left behind, like, oh, you know, but I think just the atmosphere in like competitive swimming, it's just so intense, and um, yeah, it's just the whole with a running competition, you're only there for if it's a road race. I mean, you're there for like the morning and then maybe a bit of the afternoon. It's great. You still got the whole rest of the day or the rest of the weekend. But the swimming, there's some competitions that are 5 days long, and you're just in there from 7 o'clock in the morning till like 7 o'clock at night. It's really intense, and it's quite brutal as well. Like, I know I didn't do this, but some people would train twice a day, so 2 hours in the morning and then 2 hours at night, and they do that 2 to 3 times a week. I just think it was very intensive, and I just prefer running. It's a lot more relaxed, and I just find more enjoyment in competing as well, because with swimming, I'd kind of like pray for the competition to be cancelled or something, or but with running, like I genuinely, I get really competitive with it. I love it.
No, that's all really interesting. My gosh, 5 days long. I can't believe that. Is that kind of a
Yeah,
separate race every day, or would it just be waiting for time in the pool?
yeah. It was nationals, so you would qualify for a certain amount of events. So sometimes you'd have like 7 to 10 events over the course of 5 days. So you'd have maybe sometimes you'd be really unlucky and you'd have 3 events on the one day, and then if you got into finals, it would be 6 events, and then you would be there like all the morning. You'd maybe have the afternoon off, and then you'd be there at nighttime again for the final session, and you'd have to do that mostly for if you were good and made loads of finals, you'd be there for 5 days.
Wow, gosh. And I think it's really interesting as well how you touch on, finding a bit more enjoyment in running, maybe finding it less intense. It seems that the training for swimming is, in terms of hours, potentially more time consuming, or perhaps it feels that way because of time in the pool, time getting changed, compared to running, which maybe is more separated between different types of training. But do you think that there's an element of enjoyment from you having found running at a later stage, kind of with experience of being an athlete already, or do you think it's purely down to the sport?
I think it is. I think I just really enjoy just running, just I like just the movement of being outside and running. Like I always joke to like my mum and dad that I'm always going to be that person who's 90 a park run, and I'm still doing the park run just because I love it. I don't know, there's just something really like freeing about it. Especially where I live, like the countryside is really pretty, so I just really enjoy it. And I think it is, yeah, probably because I have done swimming for so long, you're just staring at a black line for like 2 hours. It's just nice to have some more like stimulus when you're training.
Yeah, definitely a pretty big upgrade from a black line, and yeah, not too
Yeah.
much going on. Do you find running's a lot more social? Have you got kind of a big social scene down at your club, or what's your training setup at the moment like?
Not really, no. I do most of my training on my own. Because if I go to the pool, it's just by myself, because I used to train with a club, but because I don't really do it anymore, I just do it for cross training. There's no point. And with I do cycling as well, but that's just mostly indoors, because the roads where I live are quite dangerous, and I probably wouldn't want to be out on them. I'd be probably taken out by like a big tractor or something. And running, I go down to the track maybe like once a week. There's not like a huge amount of people because it's mostly like endurance based. And I don't really make it sometimes every week. I have to go down at like different times depending on when I can make it and stuff. And then the rest is just my long run. And my dad comes with me on his bike to make sure that I don't get killed on the roads again. And then I maybe do one more run. It's maybe on the treadmill or like around a park or something. So yeah, most of it is on my own.
Okay, yeah, nice. And is that something you enjoy, or would you potentially be looking in the future to kind of find more running buddies, so to say?
Definitely. Well, I'm starting uni next month, so I'm really hoping to join a lot of the clubs down there and have some training partners because it does get really tough when you're slogging away on your own all the time. So yeah, I'll join the running club and the triathlon club and hopefully have some buddies to go to the track with and do my sessions and stuff. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, definitely. And which uni are you going to?
I'm going to Dundee Uni.
Okay, nice. And as what subject are you studying?
I'm doing biological chemistry and drug discovery.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Nice. So are you kind of looking forward to that in particular or?
Yeah. It's just I always enjoyed science and biology at school, and just like the drug discovery element as well, just makes it really interesting. And it's so broad as well because it's in the life sciences part of the university, so you can kind of just pick whatever modules you'd like. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, and so, let's talk a little bit more about kind of the performance side of things, maybe some specific kind of training setups. I mean, you share a fair amount of information on your Instagram. Are you self-coached or, how do you balance that?
I am self-coached. I kind of just like looked at, well, I had background in swimming and we used to get training plans in swimming, so I kind of just copied that but put in running and cycling. And to be honest, I kind of just I'd watched like YouTube videos of like other people doing stuff, and I'm probably not meant to, but I just like researched it and I thought, I'll make this training plan, that seems fine. And I quite like the science behind sports training, like the heart rate zones and like the thresholds and the um aerobic development and everything. So I kind of looked into that and I kind of just made up a training plan based on that. And to be honest, I kind of go by feel as well. Like I can either like go on my bike or I can do a run or I can swim. It just kind of depends. If I'm feeling quite tired, I'll think, oh, I don't really want to go to the pool today. I'm just going to sit on my bike, or I don't want to run because like, maybe my leg's a bit sore. I'll just go for a swim. So it's very relaxed, and I don't try to have like a really strict like program that I follow. I kind of just go with how I'm feeling and everything. And it's worked so far. So, and I'm not injured yet. So fingers crossed it's working.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's really kind of underrated how much, everybody's different and the importance of going on field. There's often, I guess, a blanket kind of training plan as a runner. You should do this, you shouldn't do that. What are your thoughts around maybe ways that you've heard that other runners train versus how you train and kind of your philosophy around training?
I think I know a lot of people that run every day and they do double sessions, which works for them, obviously. But I just think because I've not been running for very long, I think I couldn't really take all that time running. Because I found that I only really run maybe 2, 3 times a week, and I found I tried to at the end of last year I tried to increase it to like 4, but I ended up just feeling a bit sore. My legs were tired, and I was like, yeah, this is not working. So I cut it back again, and I was speaking with my coach Andrew Woodruff, and he said. So I was like, I'm just wondering, if this is okay that I'm not really running very often. And he just said, just keep doing what you're doing because it's working, and just do whatever works for you. So that's kind of my philosophy with training, because I think that's just what works for me, but it might not work for other people.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of, racing, I suppose the first times you entered some of these maybe road races when you were still less serious about running, have you kind of made any adaptations to perhaps like tapering or adopting a race routine or yeah, what's your approach to racing?
I kind of just I turn up, and to be honest, I don't even warm up for half of them. Like I'll just go and I always have my oats in the morning, and I have peanut butter and jam before every single race. That's like my ritual before everything. No matter what time the race is, I'll be there with my peanut butter and jam. And in when I was in Israel, I couldn't find any bread, so I'd use a pita bread, but I managed to have my peanut butter and jam. But before races, I always get really nervous. I don't, it's just who I am, and my mum and dad always have to deal with me being ridiculously nervous before any race, even sometimes the park run I get nervous before, which is so silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I kind of just do the same before every race. Like obviously do like some stretches and like jump up and down, get myself warm and everything. And yeah, that's what I do. And with every race, I kind of go in with like not really any expectations. And I just don't. Well, I try not to put any pressure on myself. So I just try to enjoy it as much as I can. But sometimes that's hard when it's like a half marathon and you know you're just going to be hurting for the next like over an hour. But
Yeah, it's a unique type of enjoyment. We can put it that way for sure.
yeah.
Okay, and so, let's touch on the half marathons. That's not something that a lot of competitive runners have done, especially not at under 20. For you, what's your experience of running half marathons like and what attracts you to them?
It was the kind of end of last year. I started doing like a long run because I'd never really done one before, and I thought, I might start a long run, and I was doing my long run, and I thought I actually really enjoyed it, and I ended up feeling like a lot like better towards the end of the run than the start. So I thought, oh, like I might enter a half marathon because I feel like I'd be quite good at it. So I entered one in Glasgow in like at the end of November. And I really surprised myself with my time. I think I did like a 1:15. And I was quite shocked and I ended up really enjoying it. So I thought, I'll try and do another one because that one wasn't officially like measured. They hadn't had the right certificate or something. As so my time like didn't count. So I was like, I'll go enter another one. So I ended up doing one in Newcastle, but again, they didn't measure that one properly. So then I had to do one. It was the Scottish Championships in Inverness, and at least that one was officially measured. And I really enjoyed that one. So it made it even more special because I thought the last two that I'd done, it was so annoying where it wouldn't come up on my power of 10 and everything. And yeah, it was annoying, but at least it was saved for a good race in Inverness.
Yeah, gosh, too. Honestly, these half marathon people need to get their licenses in place. If you've trekked it around 21.5K, I think power of 10
Oh
certification
yeah,
is
yeah.
the least they can do. Okay, and for people who haven't run a half marathon, but maybe they're curious as the experience or what it's like, can you sort of walk us through your mindset or maybe some of the thoughts that you have during a half?
So I start off a wee bit too fast, I think, on my half marathons. I just sometimes you get caught up with all the men go off and they're going to be running like 105s and you're like, oh, I'll keep up. And you get a bit carried away. I did that in Inverness and I was looking at the splits on my watch and I was like, oh no, I've gone off too fast. But then you kind of just you kind of settle into it after about 5K, and nobody believes you when I say that it goes really quite quickly after like the first 5 kilometers. It's you kind of it goes by so quickly, especially when it's on the roads and stuff. It's just that your brain kind of zones out the first 5, and then for the next probably up until about 15-16K you just get into a good rhythm. I just like pick somebody like in the distance, and I think, oh, I'll try and catch them, or if somebody's behind you, you're just trying to keep them away and stuff, and you do get into a good rhythm and you just kind of focus on your breathing, and there's not really a lot of thoughts in my head at that point. I can't even remember half of the races. And once you get to about like 16-17K, you start to get a bit tired, like you can kind of feel it in your legs, and I try to like increase my pace at that point, because I know there's only about like 5 kilometers left. So I think I can maybe if I'm still feeling okay, I'll try and up my pace. So it just becomes basically like a sprint towards the last stages, and then it gets to maybe like kilometer 20, and you start to think, oh no, I don't think I'm gonna make it to the end, but you always do. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Power of the mind, once the once the
oh yeah,
finish
I keep
line's
telling
in it.
myself that.
Okay, nice. And so I guess another thing that's really interesting about you is, as you said, got into running, started, doing quite well, chipping away. But if you look at your power of 10, there's, quite a substantial jump, especially in some of your times, like your park run, for instance, where you really, really dropped those times between 2022 and this year. Was there anything in particular that really changed between, last year and now?
Yeah, my iron levels. um I think towards the middle of last year, 2022, I'd done like a few races on the track, like I'd done the 3K. I'd been to like Italy for like mountain running and everything, and I was doing quite well. And then I think it was after my exams, I don't know, it probably just zapped me. And because being a female athlete, obviously iron deficiency is really common. So I think, and I'm pescatarian, so I don't eat red meat. So I think it slowly just started to drop. And then I actually went to the doctors, and because I was just tired all the time. I was like, what's wrong with me? And I got blood tests, and they were like, oh, you're really anemic. So I was put on these iron pills from October, and I was on them all the way up till like February time. So I really honestly think it was the iron that helped. And then just been keeping an eye on it as well. So I went back in May because I felt a wee bit tired again, and they just said if you ever start feeling that way, go back and get blood tests. So I got another blood test, and they were like, yeah, it's gone down a wee bit again. So I was back on my iron pills. So it's been a bit like on and off of the iron, but it definitely was. I think it was the iron deficiency that was the problem at the end of last year. So I think when I started taking iron again, I was like, wow, I can run. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, no, that's such a common problem. And, for anyone else who could be in a similar boat, of course, always get the proper medical advice. But were there any other symptoms that were, related to having an iron deficiency other than, generic tiredness?
It was tiredness. I got joint pain. I thought I was just that was just I was getting old or something. I was like, why are my knees sore? I had insomnia, so I didn't really sleep very well. I think my nails, my nails are really brittle and everything. And I can't really remember. I think that your hair starts like I think your hair can like fall out or something. But I could just notice when I was washing my hair, I was like, that's a bit strange. So I Googled it, and I was like, and based on all the symptoms I had. So I was like, oh well, it must be that.
Yeah, no, well, that's really helpful. If you are, suffering with any of those symptoms, then definitely, go to your doctor, get a blood test, and, work for Natasha. So,
Yeah.
I think also it's really interesting you say there, coming off the iron tablet as well, in terms of maintaining kind of iron levels, especially as, say, a pescatarian. Were there any things that you did in particular to kind of try and keep those levels up in a more natural way?
Well, the doctor told me just to completely stop taking my iron tablets, and I thought that was a bit silly. So I still took like maybe one every few days just to make sure I was still having that like quite big hit of iron. And because the iron that you get from like non-meat products, it can be inhibited by a lot of other things like calcium. So I have to pay attention that if I am taking like an iron supplement, like I sometimes take the spatone, that I don't have like milk or dairy with it because it can inhibit the absorption of the iron. And I suppose just trying to eat a lot of spinach and the foods that are quite high in iron, but I do still take an iron tablet every few days just to make sure that I'm not dropping below. But actually I got a blood test today, so just to check my iron again. So I don't know, they might tell me, oh, go back on them again or stay off them. So it's good to keep a check on it just in case.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, a lot of useful information there for anyone who is dealing with that. And so if we kind of turn our attention towards some of your, international success and stuff, you recently competed at the Europeans out in Jerusalem, fourth in the 5,000, which is absolutely incredible. What was that experience like? And, what's it been like having that level of success so early on?
It was amazing. It was amazing to, get my first GB vest at 18, because I know a lot of people, wait like quite a long time to get it. So I was really chuffed that I managed to get that. And when the kit arrived in the suitcase, I was like, oh my goodness, there's so much there and everything. And I felt like I'd made it, by looking at all the kit and stuff. But it was such a learning experience, even just getting to, Heathrow Airport at 6 o'clock in the morning and, like flying down from Edinburgh and dealing just with like traveling like on my own and just, yeah, airports and everything. And once I was in Israel, in Jerusalem, we weren't allowed to leave the hotel really because it's quite a dangerous place with what's going on at the moment. So it was just, a learning experience trying to deal with being stuck in a hotel for all those days before my race and try to keep myself sane and everything, especially when the Wi-Fi signal was really terrible. So I was trying to look at like my phone, look at Instagram, and nothing would load. And yeah, it was quite an experience. It was great, but definitely, yeah, very different than the race build up that I'm used to at home.
Yeah, they chucked you right in at the deep end there by the sounds of it.
Yeah, definitely.
And in terms of that process, it being your first time competing for GB, did you get kind of any guidance from anyone in particular, or were you very much told, right, be here at this time, your race is at that time? What was that like?
Yeah, it was very much like we had to just like send in our training plans for the week leading up to the race. So that was, at least we had that. So you go to like the training track and the stadium, and there was like a park near the stadium where you could do your easy runs or shakeout runs in the park. Uh, and that was quite helpful as well. But to be honest, like before the race, all the coaches were very busy, obviously with other athletes. So it was basically just, be in the reception of the hotel for like your kit check to make sure you've got everything. And then you're put on a bus and then you're at the stadium and you just get on with your own warm up and get to the start line. I mean, the coaches are there obviously to take you to the call room and everything, but it was mostly, you know what you're doing, you're old enough to deal with your warm up and getting yourself ready. So yeah.
Yeah, gosh, no, that is a lot to deal with. And in terms of the actual race itself, did you find that did it inspire you? Did it kind of help you realize that maybe there's more to come? Or, what was it like competing on, at a higher level?
It was very different than what I'm used to, especially I've only done the 5,000 two times before, and one was basically on my own. There's only two of us in the race, so I've never really experienced like a track race with so many people. And because I've come to running so recently, I mean the number of track races I've done I could count on my hand. Like I've not done many at all. So from going from like Grangemouth in Scotland to Jerusalem in Israel, it was a big jump. But I was surprisingly not as nervous as I thought I would be in the call room. Apart from trying to pin my number, and my number on the back like ripped a wee bit, and I had to ask this other girl to pin it, and that was really stressful. But apart from that, it was so incredible to like walk out onto the start line, and have like the cameras and everything. I honestly felt like some sort of dream. Like it didn't even feel like a race. I was just trying to take it all in. And then when I was running, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm actually running a race just now. I think it was just quite overwhelming because I'd been stuck in a hotel for a whole week with like no stimulus, and then I suddenly come out to this stadium like packed with a bunch of people because it was the last day and everybody had come to watch. So it was almost surreal, but it was so cool.
Oh, that's really, really lovely to hear. And, by the sounds of it, thank goodness there was something good at the end of that, because that sounds pretty, bit COVID vibes there, to be honest, stuck in a hotel.
It was, yeah. It almost felt like The Shining because I would just like walk up and down the corridors, and like they would do like weird like corridor like music and everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm actually going insane.
Oh gosh, no, yeah, that sounds really intense. And do you have any kind of reflections upon maybe even, that race in itself, or just thoughts on running, over the past year or so?
I think definitely my philosophy for every race is just enjoy it and just go with the flow, because I said before the race Israel, like I said to my mom, like my mom and dad, I was like, if I just finish it, that'll be, I'll be happy with that. And they were like, absolutely, it's great that you even got there because to be honest, like 5,000 I wasn't even really going to focus on because I thought I was still going to be too short. So to even get in for the 5K, I was like, that was a bit unexpected because I'm really aiming for like the 10,000 on the track and then half marathon and then in maybe like 3 or 4 years going up to a marathon. So to do like quite a short race like that on the track, I was pleased with because I know it's not really my distance. I prefer something a bit longer. But it was a really good experience for what's to come. When I get to like under 23s and then into seniors.
Yeah. And so what motivates you primarily? Are you now looking at potentially seeing whether you can turn this into a future career or, where's your motivation coming from?
I think I just love doing it. And I love competing as well. And I think I just find so much enjoyment around it. And I think it's just really good to have like, goals. I can look at races and events and I think, like I think I could do that, maybe like the European cross country. Like I'll maybe like try the trials for that. And then hopefully just there's like the World Under 20 Championships next year and stuff. I think it's really good to just have goals and keep aiming for like these events and stuff. And I really like the training and I really like running. So I think as long as I keep enjoying it, then that's fine. Because if I started hating it, I would definitely not be doing it.
Yeah. No, enjoyment's definitely got to be at the forefront for sure. Okay. And is there, maybe the biggest thing that you've learned so far or, number one piece of advice you give to someone else who's kind of new to the running scene? What would you say to them or what would you say to your, self a few years younger?
Probably just like everybody's different. So, and don't feel bad if you're doing something that other people aren't. Maybe, like I said about, I don't really run very often. You know, just everybody's unique, and some people can run, 7 days a week, and some people can get away with only running like twice a week, and it's just very like individual, and not to have people tell you like what's best for you when they don't really know you. Because I know some people have told me, oh, you need to be running more, or you need to be doing this track session and that track session, and you should be doing double days and everything. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. So I think it's just almost just taking a stand and just knowing that you yourself know what's best for you for training. And on days that you feel tired, you can say to your coach or somebody, even yourself, just know like you can take a day off, or you don't have to do this session, or just kind of go with the flow more.
Yeah, definitely some excellent advice there. And in terms of, your situation moving forward, what do you think you would need to progress on to the next level? And, do you have sort of some support systems or the other kind of aspects of running, nutrition, physio, that side of things kind of set up around you?
I think probably to progress and stuff, I would just be going to the track more often, doing probably more speed work. Because I don't probably do as much speed work and track sessions as I meant to. So I think in the future that will definitely be a part of my training. And the nutrition, I enjoy cooking and I enjoy baking and everything, so that's really important to me. So I always make sure I have all my protein and all of that, all my nutrients and everything, all my iron and stuff. So I really think that's so important, because I remember somebody saying, like, as an athlete, you only really have like two things, like sleep and nutrition, and everything else, I mean, you don't really have much control over. So I think it's really important to pay attention to nutrition, because I think you can, stop a lot of injuries happening from good nutrition. And yeah, I think it's really important to fuel your training well. So I'll keep that going, especially going to uni and stuff. I'll be cooking all my meals in my student accommodation, and everybody will be really angry because I'll be in there all the time cooking like big meals after training.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You just need to make sure you bagsy the biggest freezer drawer and stick them all in there.
Oh yeah. And I'm gonna have to put all like my baking and stuff in my room in like locked cupboards so nobody can steal my peanut butter or anything.
Yeah, no, that's an expensive product.
Oh no, absolutely.
So, peanut butter, olive oil, lock and key. And, moving into uni, are you going to be on any performance programs, or have you managed to kind of secure anything in advance of going?
Not really. I think there's a sport like scholarship that you can apply for at Dundee University, so I'm gonna do that today. And I think you can get like a certain amount of money towards training and food, and I think you can get like a free gym membership as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get that. And um I think there had been mentioned of like more like funding or something that you can apply for at the end of October. So hopefully I'll be able to get some more funding. So just because it is expensive, like going to all these places and traveling and fuel and accommodation and staying over and everything. So it's good to have support in that way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's hope that the system can recognize someone who's, ranked number one should be deserving of such a scholarship. But yeah, all the best with that.
Thank you.
And in terms of, funding there and mentioning costs and stuff, are you part of ASICS? Have you got some sort of relationship with them?
Yes, I am sponsored by ASICS. They approached me after my half marathon in March, and I signed a contract with them, which has been amazing. Although with Brexit and stuff, it's really hard for this stuff to be sent from Europe to here. So it took, like months and months for the stuff to actually arrive. So I had to run like all the road races in my Nike Vaporflies, and everybody was so confused. They were like, "I thought you were sponsored by ASICS." I was like, "I don't have any of the stuff yet." So they managed to send me stuff, and it is great, and it's so nice to have that support, and the kit available with the trainers and everything. So that's really good, and I think you can get access to an altitude camp. I'll have to maybe check that out, but it's just finding slots and stuff to go.
Yeah, no, that's really great to hear. And in terms of that kind of setup, are there any, is that sort of for a lifetime, or does it work on the basis of race results? What does it look like?
It was a 2-year contract that I signed. So I think you maybe like review it after a year, and then keep it going. But yeah, it was just a 2-year one that I signed back in April. So
Yeah.
it was very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And did you feel that it increased the pressure on you, or how's it affected you?
Not really. I never really thought of it as like pressure, which is probably quite good. In case I was running and thinking, oh my goodness, this company sponsored me and I have to do well now. It never really crossed my mind. Obviously I want to, represent them and do as well as I can. But I think it was mostly just having like the support and, having access to the kit and everything. I think it's really good.
Yeah, no, excellent. Right, well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been great hearing about your story, and, it sounds like there's so much stuff still to come as well. So best of luck with everything.
No, thank you. And thank you for having me on the podcast as well.
No, great having you on. So that's it for today. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. This really helps to get the content out there. And I want to make this podcast the best possible for you. So go follow Fitter, Faster, Happier on Instagram. That's Fitter, Faster, Happier to leave your questions, comments and feedback, and for updates and guest requests. All the best for the week ahead, guys. Run happy, live happy, be happy.